Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough gun violence in our schools, enough children hiding in fear, enough parents trembling in terror as they search for any news of their own kids. There were 100 calls made to 911 in Oxford yesterday. Hundreds of children stuck in their classrooms, crying out for help. Hundreds of kids scared to death that this would be their last day of school. We have our young people learning how best to survive a shooter in between math and science classes. 6-year-olds asked to figure out for themselves whether they have a better chance to survive if they hide in a closet or if they should rush the gunman. And then on days like yesterday, days that repeat with the same frequency as this body's failure to respond, we hear the stories of teenagers texting their parents from behind a desk saying things like, "Mom, if I don't make it, I love you, and I appreciate everything that you've done for me." Parents begging their children to barricade yourselves behind the doors, to hide in classrooms, and to please hold your tears. You cannot make a sound. This chamber has heard much about God since men first stood within these hallowed halls. This chamber has heard much about the God-given rights our Creator inalienably endowed. So I ask you then, what rights has God given our children? Do they enjoy the God-given right to exist in their schools without fear of death or gun violence? Do American parents have the God-given right to drop their children off at school and expect to see them come home at night? Parents from Columbine to Sandy Hook to Parkland have had to bury their babies. And the children who survived have had to live with the trauma that only stepping over a friend painted in blood could ever bring. Do we, as a nation, have the God-given right to live free from this epidemic of gun violence, of senseless loss, of unimaginable pain? I ask all of you here today to put yourselves in the shoes of those parents. Put yourselves in the shoes of the mothers and the fathers who have gasped for air when desperation would not let them breathe. Put yourself in the shoes of all those who have sunk to their knees when the agony would not let them stand. Do you have the courage to do that? To feel what it might be like to bury your own child, to suffer with your God day after day, to make sense of the senseless, unnecessary gun violence? Do you have the courage? Do you, this body, have the courage to do what is right? To save our children and to protect our families? And if not, do you really, truly have the courage to look away? Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.